And we're live. Great. Hi. Welcome everybody to the public portion of our Victoria and Esquimalt Police Board meeting for March 11th, 2025. I'm going to start by asking our Director of Community Engagement, Cheryl Major, to provide a territorial acknowledgement.
So we acknowledge that the Victoria Police Department and the area that we police and that we all work and enjoy is located on the ancestral and traditional lands of the Lekwungen people, known today as the Swepsman and Songhees Nations. And we carry on our commitment to building relationships and learning. We do that in a number of ways. One of the things we're excited to be moving forward into is our work with our Indigenous partners with the Vic PD Canoe and participating once again in the Pulling Together Canoe Journey this summer, which will be taking place in the Salish Seas, just to often thank the Brad here as well. So we appreciate the opportunity to continue to work with you.
Thank you very much. To start off our meeting tonight, I'm going to pass it over to Staff Sergeant Jen Ames, and she's going to talk about the Greater Victoria Police Diversity Advisory Committee.
Thanks. It's a long name. We just took on the DAC, we just call it the DAC. I never quite know where to stand because I know somebody's always going to get a sore neck. So maybe I'll move to the front so that previous people have to crane their necks. So yeah, I can just go to the next slide, Kenya. And then the next one. Thanks. So I think most people sitting around the table have an idea of what the board is all about. For anybody who's following the public meeting, we are a collaboration of police officers. There's representation on the DAC from every police agency in Greater Victoria, from Souk all the way to Sydney North Saanich, and also many different community organizations providing diversity from whether it be race, ethnicity, language, education. We have a lot of service providers that sit on the DAC. And so in that way, we are able to kind of extend our reach into the community. And if you want to go to the next one. Really, we act as a consultative and an advisory body to the Greater Victoria Area Chiefs, but we also do, we work to build bridges within diverse communities and relationships. Next one, please. Already talked about that. And so on the community side, as I said, we have representation from all of the regional police agencies. And then on the community side, the co-chair of the GPP DAC is Brenda Freeman with the Victoria Native Friendship Center. We have representation from the African Heritage Association of Vancouver Island, Victoria Multi-Faith, the India Canada Cultural Association, the Intercultural Association, the Samba Cultural Association, Jewish Federation, Ukrainian Canadian Cultural Society, Vancouver Island Counseling Center for Immigrants and Refugees. So some of the things that we do throughout the year is we go to youth engagement events. So one of our favorites is the Victoria Native Friendship Center's LGBTQ2S+IA youth gathering. And so kids from schools all across the school district go to the Friendship Center. They have workshops for them. There's always a speaker. The speakers are always really interesting, but also really engaging. The first year we went, the Snotty Nose Res Kids, who are a rap group, a very prominent rap group now. They're getting a lot of accolades and attention. They came to the Friendship Center and had a really great message for the kids just about being the best that you can be and needing to, you know, love yourself before you can love others. So we attend community events for outreach. So we always try to be at Pride. We always try to be at Welcome Day. We usually try to put on an event of our own. So historically, we've done the DAC Dance Along, which was fabulously successful. We had to find a different day this year because Welcome Day, we always like to do it on Family Day. It's a great family event. Welcome Day moved to Family Day at our venue. And so because Welcome Day is such an excellent event, we just wanted to work with them. And so we will do it a different day this year. So instead we had a global cafe. And so really global cafes are really about creating a really low key, welcoming and friendly environment for people to come and just talk to the police. We like to do that at newcomer events like Welcome Day because there are a lot of barriers, I think, for people from different places to coming and speaking with the police. So I think a situation like that where they can just come and sit and have a cookie and drink the coffee and ask us how we do things here is really non-threatening and a good way to start building bridges. This year, I think my favorite moment at Welcome Day when we did our global coffee with a cop was we had a table set up for kids to come and play at, and a couple of it just spent time and did some coloring with a little guy. It was really good. And so we will do outreach with some of our partner organizations as well. Historically, we have done newcomer events where we'll do orientation. I'll actually be at the Welcoming Cities event on Friday, doing a newcomer orientation event. So yeah, those are the things that we do. So that's just some of the things that we did over the last year. We always try to attend police camp as well. Our community partners on the DAC actually really enjoy it and are always really, they're always a hit at the police camp night. Next. So just a few photos. So that was our dance along from last February. Again, well attended. We had room for 250 people. And I think like throughout the day, we had well over probably 350 in and out at different times. Last year, so we try to change it up a little each time. So last year we had drummers, and so the entire room was drumming. We had Ukrainian dancers and African dancers, and I'm trying to remember what Indian dancers, Bhangra. So it's a lot of fun. It's really, again, it's a bridge building opportunity. It's just a place for people to come and be silly and laugh together. You know, like if you're dancing next to a police officer in uniform dancing badly, it's pretty hard to feel threatened by that. So, and I definitely dance badly. So this is, so last year I was invited to speak at the BC Lottery Association actually has a really comprehensive EDIA program. They put on a pride event. They invited us to that. So we were there. And then of course we marched in the parade last year as well to honor Pride's protest origins and to celebrate where we've come. Next one. So that was just our most recent Coffee with a Cop. So my two favorite little guys. Next. So just in terms of our priorities right now, we are limited by the fact that everybody who works on the dock is doing it off the side of their desk. And everybody does great work, but if we had somebody dedicated, then we could do a lot more. So right now we are working on contracting. So we put a subcommittee together to create a coordinator position, and we are sort of deep in the midst of getting the contracts approved by the area chiefs. Somebody has been identified as a contractor, and we're really just waiting for approval by the area chiefs on that contract before we can bring that person on to start working with us. And I think that's it. Yep.
Great, thank you so much for that presentation.
Yeah, any questions?
Just to, how often does the committee meet and where do you meet?
So we meet every month. So the second Wednesday of every month is our meeting day. And typically we host at Saanich PD in the curriculum room. There's lots of parking and it's sort of convenient for everybody to get to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jen, sorry, I just wanted to just comment, just for the board, the fact that the amazing job that you do, as you know, the Greater Victoria Police Diversity Advisory Committee represents the area chiefs. And so it's not just the Victoria Police Department. We're fortunate to have you as the police co-chair with Brenda. You do an amazing job, and I just wanted to acknowledge to the board. Jen is doing this off the corner of her desk, and she does an amazing job. We're soon to have a civilian coordinator position that's going to be able to leverage and move forward and action many of the initiatives from the DAC. But Jen, you've done an amazing job. You regularly present to the area chiefs group to also give us confidence and also encourage us to attend many of these community events, which is so important. So I just wanted to acknowledge your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tim?
Thank you. I also sit on the DAC with the rest of an amazing group of people whose job is police work most of the time and putting their lives on the line, and they are such an excellent bridge between what you do, the effort and what it goes into community safety, and also bridging that gap with communities that have a terrible experience with police officers. So I'm proud to be part of that group. I hope I bring some perspective from the board to that group. And again, I think I echo the chief of the accolades of the hard work you're doing and what everybody else is doing around that table. So thank you.
For sure, thanks. And you actually so one of the things that we also do is we will bring speakers in to talk to the members of the DAC. So at our next meeting, we will have the Victoria Coalition of Survivors of Torture coming and presenting. There are a significant number of survivors of torture in Victoria who have come here as refugees from other places. And I think it's really good for us to have that perspective, especially even as police officers serving the public, that obviously, if you are a Syrian refugee and you were kidnapped by somebody from Assad's regime and tortured and were lucky to make it out and survive, get to Canada, I think seeing somebody in uniform is potentially going to take you to a really bad place. So I think for us, even having people who can come and talk to us and help us understand those perspectives is really valuable. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to move on to making any declarations of conflict of interest. I'd like to adopt, I'm going to seek a motion to adopt the public agenda of March 11th, 2025. Paul,
So moved.
Mary Ann, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. We'll look for a motion to adopt the public minutes of February 18th, 2025. Elizabeth, seconded. Dale, any discussion, errors, additions, omissions? Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed, thank you. Motion carries. Item D, board chair update. I don't have anything to update. I will move on to our committee updates and pass it over to my colleague, Paul Harrow, Chair of Governance.
Thank you. The governance committee met, this was last week. And we had a discussion about onboarding new members of the Victoria Esquimalt Police Board. The reason why we had the discussion is that we have one of our current board members' term the expiring, ending in around July. There's a maximum term limit for each board member. As well as just recently, the provincial government made changes to the composition of police boards, changing around mayors automatically chairing, and part of those discussions flowed an additional board position that's for our board. So that would be potentially two positions, as well as we currently have one of our board members, Holly Portright, who has taken a leave, is running, bringing her name forward to run for the vacancy councillor in the township of Esquimalt. And so potentially, if Holly's successful, and certainly Holly is a great board member, and we certainly don't want her to leave this board, but we all know that she would be a great councillor in the township of Esquimalt. We potentially may have 3 vacancies. And so we're, which is a sizable change in this board. So The board wanted to bring forward a motion to this board, the governance committee, I should say, wanted a motion to come forward to effectively look at our onboarding processes. And so I will move that the governance committee recommends that the board develop a more fulsome onboarding process for onboarding new board members and update the manual to reflect the new process.
I can invite you. I can speak to-
Just further, so one of the things that work has already started on this, our board's executive assistant, they're starting to develop a checklist for all the steps that we need to do to welcome a new board member. So, but some of the things that the governance committee is looking at is when we do welcome the new board members, that there would be some automatic meetings with the chief and the senior leadership team. Possibly we're exploring the idea of meeting with each of the three chairs. We have three committees to try to kind of give a snapshot of the roles of each of those committees, as well as making sure that they're provided the tours of Vic PD and all the simple things of where to park, how to get into the building and all that stuff. So this is, if the board approves this, the plan is that this would go back to the governance committee to kind of fill in the blanks. And then we would certainly report out to the board in the days ahead. But we will be welcoming new board members soon, and any members of the public who are interested. If you are interested, you can go to the BC government's board resourcing webpage, and you will there's a process to put your name forward as a candidate for one of the three positions, and that's happening as we speak. So that's kind of my update, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Do I have any further discussion on this motion? All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. I can see human resources, no discussion arising. Is that still the case?
That's still the case, no discussion. Thank you, Chair.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'll pass it over to my colleague, Finance Chair Elizabeth Call.
And I will pass this over to our Director of Finance, Donna Phillips, to do the monthly financial report.
So this is our monthly financial report for December 2024. This represents the entire fiscal year of 2024. Outlines where we landed at the end of the year. There's a chart at very high level explaining why we had a budget shortfall of $859,000. And this shortfall is after funding the costs for our retirements for the year from the employee benefit obligation reserve. So that was about 1.4 million. And also we funded I think it was about $45,000 from the financial stability reserve for our special operations investigations. These are investigation costs over and above, and these are a budgeted amount. So 868 is coming out of the financial stability reserve. Reasons are explained in the covering memo. I won't go into details about all of the different aspects of that. I've also included some information on why there were some fairly hefty divisional variances, primarily related to the staffing reorganization in 2023, and the budgets did not reflect that new reality, so that it created variances, particularly within the community services division. There is an offsetting underspending in patrol division for that, and then there are some other cost overruns with patrol, so it doesn't show that way on the report. And then capital expenditures, I've just included some information there while we've been capping our expenditures there. So they were underspent by about 356,000. This is primarily due to the 300,000 that was reduced, was under appeal, and was not awarded in the 2023 appeal. So we are just capping spending so that we don't go over. The funding for that reserve is less than the capital expenditure budget. Any questions?
Just curious, there's been I'm looking at some of the there's a section on cost overruns and cost savings. My question, there's been a lot of discussion in the last 2 weeks about tariffs and the effect of tariffs. And I'm not looking for an answer now unless we have one, but when I look at obviously fleets, I'm not sure exactly whether our fleet is Canadian made cars or they're made in the States, but as well as some of the protective clothing. I'm not sure. I suspect it's in the United States. I'm just wondering, I guess it's probably the question is to Donna or probably to our finance chair. I think that I'm hoping that the finance committee is going to put their mind to this topic. Now, the hard thing is President Trump seems to change his thoughts on tariffs every hour. So, but I think we should probably. I think it would be wise to identify some of our larger expenditures to see where we're at risk for potential further cost overruns. So I just wanted to flag that. So
I
thank you.
started that conversation with the manager in my division. So he says a lot of our US goods consist of firearms, ammunition, uniforms, specialized equipment like protective clothing, and they're all US manufactured, distributed to Canadian suppliers. So at this point, we're looking at trying to pre-buy any goods that we can pre-buy, trying to defer other costs, looking for Canadian suppliers where possible. There's very limited options there because of the specialty nature.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you very much for the report, Donna.
Yes.
We can see you've got a motion.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so the motion is that the Finance Committee recommends to the board to approve any members who have expressed interest in attending the CAPG conference and the Canadian Association for Civilian Oversight Law Enforcement Conference in 2025 should be able to attend. We did discuss this in our committee. We have commission funds in our conference budget to allow those individuals to go. The good news is that I think they're both here in BC. No, one is one's in BC and one's in New Brunswick. So the BC one is actually a lot easier on the budget.
And we're hosting the BBC one.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the motion. Budgeted. That's the conference attendance and sure.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Do I have a seconder for this? Any further discussion? Motion, all those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And now we move on to item F, board member engagement update. Do any of the board members in the room have anything they'd like to report on? Yeah,
We've had the pleasure of standing next to our chief at the coolest night of the year event in support of our place society.
thank you very much. Any other board members?
Number of us were at the retirement ceremony, which was fun. So that it's interesting to hear all the speeches, like all the individuals who are retiring, but I think I got a bit of their personality of the comments and ribbing they took from their colleagues. Very good. I understand from Michaela that people appreciated having as many board members there as we were able to be there that night.
That's true. Thank you very much. I did appreciate also having so many board members there. It's been really positive to see so many board members at so many different things, council meetings, community engagement events, conferences. It's a really positive shift in the culture of the board. And I think that it was really fun to be part of a social event with Vic PD also, and to see so many members and their family and friends having fun being celebrated. So thank you for reminding everybody of that. I'll just say quickly that I had the pleasure of attending the first inaugural Women in Policing Conference jointly held by the BC Association of Chiefs of Police and the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police. It was in Vancouver, and I was there through my work with another board. That was just a couple days ago. I would like to prepare a fulsome presentation to the board for the April board meeting with a little bit more information. I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet. Like the real highlight was hearing Sergeant Jan Malinowski make a presentation at that. So I'll just give you a teaser about what my more fulsome presentation will be. But it was just really exceptional to right in advance of International Women's Day, spend a couple of days with 500 participants who registered for that conference. It was really wonderful, and I look forward to making a report back to the board. All right. And we'll also go to item G, which is the BC Association of Police Boards and Canadian Association of Police Governance update. For those of you who don't know, I'm the vice president of the BCAPB and sit on the CAPG board. There's not a huge amount of enormous updates right now. Everybody is fully enthralled in conference planning. Anybody asks you if you'd like to plan a conference or two, think very strongly about the time commitment involved, although I found it extremely interesting and I am finding it rewarding to watch everything come together really well and to get the positive feedback from people as registration has rolled out. I think probably the primary update that I have for now is that after a many years of offering this and promising this, the Canadian Association of Police Governance is finally really actively working to roll out its national training model for all police board members. Then it will be designed to complement provincial training models and sort of offer a suite of training tools for people who are joining governance roles, starting right from a very basic understanding of governance and police board governance. So it's been exciting to see that come together. And I sort of appreciate the fire that's lit under the CAPG board right now to be able to deliver on that by our conference in August. So that's keeping everybody very busy. And now I will pass it over to Chief Manager for our Chief Constable update.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Chair. The report that you'll see, it's a one-pager from my last update, is located on page 15. Got a couple of the highlights. Police camp orientation session as being on the board for the Greater Victoria Police Foundation. Attended orientation camp and co-presented with the camp director in Bassi. The camp, just for the board's information, the camp actually starts this Saturday. It's starting on Saturday the 15th. I will be there in the morning to welcome all the camp participants. And for the board's information, you will get an invite in your calendar, and it is going to be added on the board calendar. The graduation for police camp will be the following Saturday. It's on Saturday, March 22nd at 10 a.m. So just if you can arrive prior to the start of the ceremony at 10, and it's at St. Margaret's School in Saanich. Also presented the Q4 Community Safety Report Card to City Council. Inspector Mike Brown presented the similar report to the township last night. I had an opportunity to meet with Minister Begg, had a one-on-one meeting with him just to discuss some public safety priorities for the Victoria Police Department. The retirement ceremony was already mentioned, so appreciate that. Just a shout out to our union, our police Benevolent Association, HR for coordinating the ceremony, and for Cheryl for doing an amazing job being our master ceremonies. Had a meeting with School District 61. So with Sherry Bell, who's the appointed trustee, and the school superintendent. And I will leave it to Deputy McCrae in his update just to provide what that follow-up meeting occurred, which was yesterday on that. But all things are very positive in working towards a school safety plan that's going to work for everyone. Also attended the Wounded Warrior finale with Deputy Chief Jason Lakeman, who was one of 8 runners that ran 800 kilometers over an 8-day period, all the way from Port Hardy down to Victoria. And a number of us were there, including Deputy Chief McCrae, to see the conclusion to the run. And Mayor, I appreciate your attending the Wounded Warrior finale and also providing some comments there. And I've started my chief's briefings. So every spring and fall, I go meet with all the different divisions and provide my briefings. This spring, there'll be 9 briefings. My first one was yesterday. I went very well, 8 more to go. And before I turn it over to Deputy McCrae for an update, I just wanted to turn it over to Cheryl who's our director for the Community Engagement Division, just to talk a little bit about some of the work that we did. I heard, Chair, you mentioned the International Women's Day, but some of the work that Big PD was doing around this particular initiative, and I'm extremely proud, and I think the board members that haven't seen what we've done would be extremely pleased to get the update. Sure.
Sure, so this was a wrap up, was phase 3 of the employee attraction strategy that we started in 2023. And so phase 3 was designed to be a targeted recruiting for specific groups. In the fall of 2024, in discussing with HR recruiting staff, it was identified that we had a really low number of female applicants, lower than they typically saw. And this is estimated by recruiting staff as a point in time estimate, because we don't ask gender. So this was just an estimate based on what they were seeing. So based on that and the fact that we had planned a targeted recruiting phase, we decided to target attracting female applicants, which is in line with across the board, across policing push to have 30% of all new hires be female by 2030. So there's some groups that have signed on to this 30 by 30 initiative with that intent. So we conducted a campaign over the last 6 months that included a number of strategies and tactics, primarily around reducing perceived barriers and increasing a feeling of connection or ability to interact with female officers. And we did some research about why we thought people wouldn't apply, conversations that recruiting had had, some of the research that's out there for the larger scope of things as well. So our result was, we just did a point in time estimate last week, and the result was, again, point in time, 110% increase in female applicants from the first measurement. So that was pretty good. And of course, it isn't just recruiting, it isn't just about how many people are applying. One of the secondary outcomes of this campaign has been bringing to light the success that the department actually enjoys in terms of culture, camaraderie, support, and mentorship that women enjoy here at Big PD. So I've handed out a card to the board, and this is all on our Women in Policing page that we have on the website as well. We actually are really strong in numbers, and I think that that's something that the board should be really proud of and the department should be really proud of. And I think, Jen, we've been able to highlight you in a number of ways. And I think we really saw, especially at the women's event, that ability for everybody to connect and feel that sense of connection of what you guys are all part of. It's really good. So I'm really proud of my team and everybody who participated and for being part of the department and the work that we did there.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Cheryl. And Deputy McRae.
Great, thanks, Chief. I'll just give one police file operational update, and then I will provide an update on SD 61 because we had a meeting yesterday. Just the file update, we did a short briefing on this one as well as a variety of other files. Some significant mischief incidents recently in the last week or so here in Victoria. The one more specific one or more significant one was in the 700 block of 8th Street, where a suspect in likely what appeared to be a drug-induced state used an axe to smash through the front glass of a business and then proceeded to use that same axe to destroy the inside of the business. We're not clear what the intent of this person was, but they did have a fairly known history with us. That person was arrested and actually held in custody for at least until this past Friday, where they were going to be going towards a bail hearing. This is part of a series of various mischiefs, and there was 2 other incidents where we had police cars significantly damaged, where they were rendered inoperable. Again, both were what we would consider drug-induced states, and one in which also had to be medically intervened in order to try and reduce the risk and reduce the violence to our members. So it is these are always challenging. They're always difficult for our members arriving, but I'm happy to say none of our people were injured during any of these arrests. But the damage to 2 of our vehicles was again not insignificant, but rendering both inoperable. Moving on to School District 61, yesterday Inspector Mike Brown and I attended as part of a larger group of, it was actually quite a large meeting. It was hosted by SD 61, by Superintendent Whitten, many people in attendance, including Chief Ron Sam, representatives from all 4 houses of our Indigenous community. Each of the police departments that interact or connect with the SD61 union representation from multiple layers of QP, as well as the Greater Victoria School Teachers Association, the Vice Principals and Principals Association, as well as Dr. Kevin Godden. And Dr. Godden has been retained again now by the province in order to help assist in building the school safety plan that will be moving forward and ultimately implemented. So the purpose of yesterday's meeting was an actual working meeting. So they have a draft safety plan that they shared with all of the participants of the meeting in advance, gave everybody an opportunity to review and consider potential input, in which yesterday every group was able to provide their input, modifications, changes, wording, everything under the sun was up for grabs. It was a very respectful meeting. It was great to work so closely with all these different community partners, as well as the different people at the table. Ultimately, that draft plan will be going to both Minister Bear, as well as the appointed trustee for SD61, and who will ultimately be the final approver. Once that happens, and even prior to that happening, the next phase is to move on to the implementation planning and what this will actually look like. I suspect that when we move to the implementation planning, we will be going to a smaller group. This group is very large. It would be hard to kind of plan implementation there. And I suspect the implementation group may be something more in line with one representative from each of the police agencies, as well as then working with the school district and their staff on how the implementation of the plan that's been developed on a larger scale by everybody, how we can actually deliver on that. The goal and the hope is that prior to the end of this school year, we will have a presence into the schools, and certainly here for the board, our board's awareness, Vic PD is ready and prepared to move to that just as soon as the school board is ready to move to that, and the school district is ready to move to that, and we look forward to that once we have the plans and plan in place and the implementation plan in place. So we've made good progress. There will be more meetings to come, as I mentioned, but it was a very positive meeting, and I feel like everybody had an opportunity to have their voice heard and to be able to be a full participant in the meeting with good progress moving forward. Thanks, Chief.
Perfect. Thanks, Deputy. That's the update. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Chief, can I ask you to move on to your equity, diversity, inclusion, and engagement efforts?
Yeah, sure. It's two items. You'll see them at the bottom of page 15 of the report that's in your package. Board Member Dale mentioned the coldest night of the year walk. That was great to participate in the walk. Again, Mayor, thank you for your comments as Mayor of the City of Victoria. And the second event is, this is something that I've shared with the board on multiple occasions for the last probably 7 years, maybe even 8 years. We partner with the Aboriginal Coalition to End Homelessness on a regular basis, multiple events and relationship building events. They're amazing events that allow us to interact, build relationships, which has happened. And our latest event was on March 4th. We had a movie matinee, and we had a number of our officers and staff that met with the Indigenous street family and enjoyed an afternoon of going to a movie. So, thanks.
Great. Item J, I think is still with you, Chief Maddox, Vic PD Divisional Action Plan update.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go into great detail, but I want to assure the board that this is a follow-up to our strategic plan. So each manager and each director on your senior leadership team has a divisional action plan that they are responsible for actioning that meets 3 goals. And their 3 goals are supporting community safety, enhancing public trust, and achieving organizational excellence. So there is a lot more that we could put in this document, but just for the board's comfort and acknowledgement of, and give you confidence that our leadership team continues to advance the strategic plan that's in place. And each divisional manager has given you a highlight or 2 under each of the 3 divisional goals. about what they've accomplished. And so I would just leave it at that as an update. There's a lot of information here, but again, this is just a snapshot of some of our accomplishments, some of our tasks, and some of our priorities, either in 2024 or moving forward into 2025. So I'll open it up to you through you, Chair, if there's any questions on the divisional action plan.
Thank you. I appreciated the robust report and the layout of it. It was easy to read. And I appreciate anything that draws us back to our strategic plan. I think there's an opportunity for the board to have more engagement with the strategic plan. And I think probably I'll just keep using the word opportunity for the board to be more involved in discussing that. So I think this is timely because that's been on my mind. I'll just open it up to any questions that the board may have on this. Elizabeth?
Just a bit further on what you said, I was really pleased to see it, because I've often wondered what happens. I looked at the strategic plan, but I'm thinking, so what, you know, what are we doing? So this was very timely, because it was on my mind, and it's also timely because as we look forward to revising or revisiting the strategic plan in 2026, we'll have an idea of what we actually have managed to do with what we, you know, our plan that we have for 4 years now. My time, so I don't know exactly when it started. So I think this is going to set us up well for the review that we will do next year. But also, thanks for letting me know what you've been working on that fits into the strategies that we're crafting carefully, and I think that it's really good.
Thank you very much. Any further questions on this? Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll echo that. Thank you. This was really good. I'm just wondering, generally, to all that contributed, is there anything that could have been done different? Anything that you were surprised by, excited by? What is your general takeaway?
I would just share, you know, the strategic plan goals often link back to specific projects or something specific that is, you know, any individual division has been working on or that we've been working on together as a senior leadership team. I think one of the things, and I'd love to figure out how to better recognize this in a strategic plan. One of the things that sometimes is missed is all of the day-to-day work that is done that actually also takes up a significant amount of time. So it's not a special project. It's not necessarily something that is so prescribed that, oh, we're going to do this and here is the outcome. It's just what I would call the daily work. Now, daily work, you could obviously, you know, link it into usually one of these, whether it's support community safety, enhance public trust, but those kinds of things often don't get as recognized, but still take a huge amount of time and commitment from, you know, each person here at this table, but then of course, all of the people who are working for the department. So that would be my one biggest takeaway is, you know, it's always good to see because you see a little bit more of the project work here, but what you're missing is the day-to-day.
Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Deputy, for that comment. Totally agree with it. I think it's important to highlight as you did. But the other thing I think I would just highlight is the work capacity of what each divisional manager and director is able to accomplish. There are shortages in each division. When I look around the room and Inspector Jeff Lawson is missing, there's a few people that are missing from our leadership team from this particular meeting, but there is not one section here that is fully staffed with a full complement. But they're committed to public safety. They're committed to their divisional priorities in feeding through the strategic plan and accomplishing as much as we can to maintain the public's trust and confidence and to deliver on what our public want from their police service. And so it's just a snapshot for the board. But I can tell you, Tim, just to your question of what is possible in what we're able to accomplish and how much more we could do with additional staffing and being staffed to the appropriate numbers. And I know we're trying to get there, and I know that the board support us in that endeavor, but it's extremely important to do that of what we're able to do and what we could possibly be able to do if we had all of our vacancies staffed. Thank you.
Very much. Any further questions on that? Well, thank you. I appreciate all the work that went into creating that. And I will move on to our new business. Your agenda package, you'll see that there is a letter received from the township of Esquimalt regarding withdrawal of board support for development of specialized services. We received that on March 4th, and that's a follow-up to a letter that we initially received on November 5th, inviting us to participate in the development of specialized policing services. We've had a number of conversations related to that, and further at the end of the meeting, we'll have a rise in report related to this. But I want to receive this letter and ask if there's any discussion at this time. Thank you very much. I will move on to item 5, correspondence. This looks like a report that we've received from Ecom for our own information and knowledge, and I'm imagining that each of us is taking the time to read this. Any questions or comments on this?
Just through to you, to the chief, do we know, I know that the province of is doing a full review of Ecom, and especially there's been several municipalities around on the island who were very upset with the high cost of the, I would say, downloading of Ecom. Do we know when the province's report is going to be finalized or at least made public?
Yeah. I don't have the exact answer for that. I can tell you that the review is underway. All of the chiefs across this province welcomed a review, an independent review, an audit, not just around the governance, but also on the financial, on the transformation plan that Ecom had, on the financial layout and the structure that's currently in place. I would expect we're probably still 2 months away from getting any sort of a interim report that probably will be coming to the chiefs first.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. If there's no further questions, oh, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
Thank you. And again, through the chief, I noticed that there's so many pieces of information on updates, technology-wise, staffing-wise. How much of a difference has that made to your operations?
Yeah, so through you, Chair, it's actually made a significant difference, especially on the non-emergency calls. They've actually implemented technology now in place. So it's like a call answer service instead of a human that's picking up the phone. They've reduced some duplication and redundancy. One of the challenges that they were having was around recruitment and retention. They were finding that as they were training new call takers and dispatchers, they would then resign, and then it was just a cycle where it was creating some challenges. So they have addressed capacity, training, ensuring that the selection process is identifying the right individuals who they feel are going to be committed to Ecom for long term. It's paid dividends. And so I can tell you that when I look at, and we get presentations on a regular basis from Ecom to the BC Chiefs of Police. And in the last presentation 2 weeks ago, the numbers have improved significantly, primarily on the non-emergency lines. And there definitely is a light at the end of the tunnel, but the costs, as Board Member Farrell mentioned, are just astronomical. They're double-digit increases. They are not sustainable, and there needs to be a new funding model that the province needs to really look at about how we can have redundancy built in, emergency management for if and when it's needed, if there's ever a natural disaster, an emergency that's needed. But those are areas I understand are going to be reviewed in this audit that the government's undertaking.
Thank you very much. All right, so I am going to move on to item 7, which is a rise and report. Earlier this evening, the board passed a motion in response to a November 5th letter received from the township of Esquimalt, an invitation to participate in the development of specialized services. The motion is as follows. So the Victoria and Esquimalt Police Board write a letter to Esquimalt Council notifying the township that the Victoria and Esquimalt Police Board, after consultation with police leadership, will not be submitting a proposal to provide specialized policing services to the township at this time. Very much. And with that, we've reached the end of our meeting, really close to 6 o'clock. I just want to say that, and I will seek a motion to adjourn. Elizabeth, Tim, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Meeting's adjourned, and we will just go back to in camera very briefly. We have two